Oh, here we go. That was just a small snippet of the infectiously catchy Killing Bites opening theme song. I don't want to play the whole thing, so I don't want to anger the YouTube gods. Oh, I forgot to do the forgot to do the intro. What up, fam? It's your boy Thunderboy 2024, streaming to you live. Yeah, this has long been overdue. My Killing Bites review. So, long story short, I mentioned this in a previous video, in the Necronomico video, but because of Sentai Filmworks, that's the company, they had like a little summer sale. So I bought two shows on discount, like half price or quarter price. I got Killing Bites and I got a swimming anime called Dive, and I was kind of doing a dual watch. That was the original plan. I was going to do a double review, like watch both of them. So what I was doing was every night I would watch one episode of both shows. And I'd been kind of consistent with that. I did like up to episode 4 of both. But what I found was that Dive, I'm still planning to review it. That's going to come later. But obviously I'm doing this first. Killing Bites was just so much more entertaining and interesting. Dive was boring as fuck. and I realized my time was limited. So like I realized with that hour chunk of time, instead of watching Killing Bites and Dive, I would so much rather just spend my night watching 2 more episodes of Killing Bites. You know what I mean? It kind of got to that point where I was like, you know what? Like, let's just... And I can get the Killing Bites review out quicker that way. So I just completely threw Dive out the window and focused on Killing Bites. And so I have that done. I watched all 12 episodes. I had seen this previously. This anime came out at the very beginning of 2018. And it's kind of a difficult one to find. That's why I really wanted to own it physically. Let me, I'll crack it open, just show you the 2 discs here. It's pretty sweet having this on Blu-ray. So here's main girl, Honey Badger, Hitomi, and then this is her in her final form. So that's kind of a spoiler. You know, not too often that like the cover of a disc is a spoiler, but whatever. This will be a spoiler-filled review. I'm gonna assume you've seen it, or it's hard to find, so I'm just gonna tell you about it, and like in the hopes that maybe one day you'll see it. But yeah, Killing Bites. It's one of my favorites. It's like so ridiculous and over the top, and it's one of those shows where there's nothing else really like it. I'm thinking back to like there's certain shows, not even like the best of shows, but I always favor shows that are like really unique. You know what I mean? So like back in the day, let's say the early like like 2000 whatever 5 or so, back when Gantz was popular, Gantz. That's an anime, again, not the best anime I've ever seen, but like it's a really unique one. It's a really mature one, it's a really dark one, and it's one that like not a lot of shows really compare to. Another one I'd give as an example is Berserk. Berserk's kind of like its own show. Like there's not a whole lot that will even remind you of Berserk. And similarly, I would say the same thing about Killing Bites. I was looking up on my anime list like what people even recommend. People are recommending a show called Juni Tyson, the Zodiac War. I watched an episode or two of that, and that's like another battle royale with like people that have like kind of animal themed powers. It's not. It is and it isn't. Like it's again, Killing Bites is still kind of in its own league. Like Juni Tyson, I'll give it another shot. It really wasn't doing much for me, to be honest. It wasn't as good. And even in the reviews that I saw, people were saying like, yeah, Juni Tyson isn't quite as good, but it's like kind of like Killing Bites. I don't know. Let me read the back summary real quick. I love these little summaries. I wish I could like write these for a living. It's not the ultimate game of death until the claws and fangs come out. Yuya Nomoto, that's our main boy. Our main character, believe it or not, is not any of these lovely women. It's actually this generic as fuck forgettable guy. I completely forgot about him until I started writing this review, until I started filming this review. But yeah, he's technically the main character. So, Yuya Nomoto is horrified to discover that the vehicle he was driving was being used to kidnap a high school girl, but he's even more shocked when the girl, Hitomi Uzaki, literally tears her kidnappers to pieces instead. Then she forces Yuya to drive her to an arena, where she bets the value of his organs on herself to win in a deathmatch against a half-lion hybrid. Even more astonishing, Hitomi wins. That's because she's a therianthrope, a genetically engineered fighter created specifically for the underground deathmatches known as Killing Bites. And now that Yuya has been pulled into this dark underworld, he has no choice but to continue working for Hitomi. Because who's going to fight against a girl who's part honey badger? Get ready to enter the most savage competition ever in Killing Bites. So yeah, this show has everything. This show, it has over the top violence, R-rated violence. I was very surprised at some of the violence in this show. Again, similar to Gantz, where like yeah, in a lot of shows you'll see like blood and stuff like that. But Killing Bites, and again, I have the Blu-ray, and I know that the TV, there's like the TV version, which is slightly edited, slightly watered down. I know for one thing, just to give an example, there's this Cobra guy that gets like cut in half by the main villain, and in the TV spot that I saw, you just see his body on the ground, cut in half, and you see some blood. No, in the anime, in the show that I watched on Blu-ray, you see gore, you see his spine sticking out. It's very gruesome. And then there's another fight where brain matter is like flying out of this guy's skull. Like it's very, very gruesome. Also, in the second episode, I didn't get a picture of this I have the visual aid is coming. I didn't get a picture of this, but yeah, I think it's the second episode, you have this whatever streaker girl, or this girl that's just wearing a trench coat, and she approaches Yuya, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to see this?" And she drops her coat, and you see uncensored nudity, which again in a normal time slot anime, it's very rare, very very rare. Again, Gantz comes to mind. That's one of the few other TV broadcast shows I can think of that usually they save that shit for the Blu-ray release, but yeah, it's very rare you see uncensored nudity in an episode like that when it's not an OVA or anything. Again, not saying that it automatically makes it a good show. It definitely stood out. It definitely stood out in my mind as kind of a more mature rated show than what I'm typically used to as far as the action shows. But yeah, this is well, okay, let me back up. So yeah, they kind of gloss over here, but episode 1, this is the way it starts out. This average Joe, this college student, Yuya, his buddies tell him, "Oh, you're going to be our driver, our getaway driver. We're going to pick up girls." That's all they tell him. We're going to pick up girls. What they don't tell him is, yeah, they grab this high school girl and they proceed to RAPE her. That's the first scene is an RAPE scene. And I know you're already about to turn off the show or turn off the video, but I promise it doesn't go the way you think. Again, it says it on the back cover, but yeah, Hitomi, it is revealed that she's a part honey badger. She morphs and she violently murders all of the guys in the back of the car, and basically says to Yuya, he's like, "Oh, I'm innocent, I didn't know what was going on." And she's like, "All right, whatever, you work for me now, you're driving me to this fight." And she fights this lion guy and participates in what's called the Killing Bites tournament. And yeah, she bets his organs or whatever because it's a whole bet type of thing. And because she wins, she basically creates a team for this super tournament on this island called the Destroyal. Yeah, the Destroyal. I love it. It's like Destroya in Godzilla. But yeah, a bunch of these animal hybrid people, they get together, they fight to the death, and then win money and prizes and fame and all that. It's great. I love it. And there's obviously you can tell very very fan servicey character designs with the females. So you get your ecchi, you get your over the top violence, your action. You get very, very interesting National Geographic facts. you get your National Geographic facts as well. I only had one page to work with. There's so much more. I had to stop myself because this is one of my favorite anime ever. I love talking about it, I love watching it, I love showing it to people. There's so much I want to say, and I gotta control myself. This is gonna be a 30-minute or around 30 minutes, I promise. So I gotta control myself. But yeah. So one thing that'll stand out right away, I mean, this is an older show, what is it, 2018 or so, but it looks great, especially I have the Blu-ray, so I'm watching it on my TV. The studio, it's Studio Liden Films, they haven't done, a lot of noteworthy stuff. I think they also did Terraformers, the show with the giant cockroach people. They do weird stuff, they do weird anime, but yeah, I really love the character designs. The artwork is very, very, very good, in my opinion. I especially like the detail. All of the girls, I mean, obviously they're combatants, they're fighters, right? I mean, they're very cute for one thing. Let me say this first of all. So you can kind of see, well, maybe you can't see it here, but when you watch the show, you'll see I love the detail on the eyes. All of the characters' eyes always have this feral like glow behind the pupils. It's very well done. And also whenever characters are feeling an emotion, like for example, Erza's feeling love here. She stole Hitomi's panties. You can see she has like little hearts in her eyes. It's very, the artwork is very, very appealing. It's very, very well done. So hats off to Liden Films on that one. And the other thing I think is deserving of praise is, again, it's how do I put this? So like, how do I put this? What they do so well here is drawing like the athletic figure of these women, because these are women. Obviously, they have animal powers, but they have to be in shape. Like they're competing in this Destroyal tournament. You know, the artwork on, like, for example, the abs. Okay, the abs, the muscular abs, the muscular thighs. Like the artwork is so damn good. Like it's obviously they had like whatever real life models, or like they watched like female athletes, whatever, competing or whatever, like, they had some kind of reference point, because the artwork, this is some of the best, most detailed artwork on like a athletic female build I've ever, because like, again, what slightly annoys me is I'll watch shows, right? I'll watch shows like Fairy Tale or whatever, like these shonen series where they're usually it's dudes like all fighting, but sometimes there are women fighting too that are like physically strong. But like whenever I see them, they're not drawn any differently. Like I had a conversation with my friend about this the other day. With a Fairy Tale, for example, you have Lucy and you have Erza. Okay, not this girl's name's Eruza. There's a U in between. No, the Fairy Tale Erza is just Erza. There's no U. Anyway, but yeah, you have Lucy, okay, who is just a typical chick who like uses keys to summon familiars to fight or whatever. And then you have Erza, who is like a physical fighter. She always wears like heavy armor, uses heavy swords and shit. You would think that they'd be drawn a little differently, right? You would think that Erza would have some like muscle tone or something, but no, they're drawn exactly the same way. There's certain artists that, like, even when women are physically powerful, they don't draw them any differently. This artist, I tip at my hat to. He draws like a physically built, woman. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't look like a Lucy from Fairy Tale. She's got like a physique going. She's got a 6-pack of abs. You know what I mean? So that's one point in its favor. I guess that's my change my mind for tonight. Killing Bites. There's no other show like it. See if you can name me another show like Killing Bites, and then see if you can tell me why this isn't the best anime ever. That's my change my mind. Killing Bites, I think, is the best anime. It's one of my favorites, like legitimately. I think it's one of the best ever. Tell me why not. And again, like I know that there's other shows. I'm probably not going to get any views. Like there's other popular anime like Demon Slayer, Dan. What else? Jujutsu Kaisen. I could make videos about all the popular stuff and get more views, but I don't have as much to say about those, and those are already being, well enough talked about on YouTube by other people. The reason I'm doing this channel and like doing these videos, like I said before, is I want to draw attention, just like with the Pumpkin Night video. That's why I did that. Like I want to draw attention to these series that no one really knows about or talks about that deserve some attention. You know what I mean? And it doesn't help that Killing Bites, unfortunately, we only got the 12-episode anime, and that's it. And there's plenty more manga. There's plenty more story to adapt. And I cross my fingers. I hope against hope that maybe one day we'll get. And there is a tease at the end of the season for like a season 2 for like another tournament. And it just, it never so far it has not. And this came out 2018. So what? It's been about 7 years. Probably not going to happen at this point. I'd like to hope, though. But yeah, the story's continued in the manga, which we never got in this country. So, yeah, good luck. What else do I want to say? So, I'll get to this real quick. So, here's the cringe corner. So, there are some really good character designs. Specifically, I'm talking about the female characters, like these 3 main girls: Hitomi, the honey badger, Erza, the cheetah girl, and then we have Ui, the bunny girl. These are 10 out of 10 character designs. They went a lot with the girls. Some of the male character designs are not great. Some of them are pretty cringe, and we're gonna see. Here's Hippo Guy. He's pretty bad. To be fair, I don't know how to make a hippo man look cool. Then there's Gorilla Man. Oh my god. And he's smiling. He's so pleased with himself. I'm like, dude, you look so cringe. You look so goofy. He obviously can't see himself, or what, he would not be smiling this much. Yeah, no, this is the definition of that, like, bro that skipped leg day at the gym meme. Like oh my god. And I didn't have room to fit him, but there's a Crocodile Man villain as well, and he's just as bad as this. Like, he's like all top heavy, like all skinny chicken legs. Oh, same thing with the lion guy that Hitomi fought in the first episode. He was like super bulky, muscular up top, and then like skinny little legs on the bottom. All these like top heavy guys. Like seriously, I wish there was like an episode where like Hitomi or somebody just like trips them or like pushes them, like all three of them like fall over, because they're all the villains are like top heavy. All the men are like top heavy, like so top heavy. Oh my lord. But yeah, Hitomi is a honey badger, which is funny because if anyone who knows anything about the animal kingdom, yeah, honey badgers are the one animal that don't give a fuck. They're the one you don't mess with, and like that's very much Hitomi. Like she will take on any opponent, like no matter how much power difference there is. Like she doesn't care. Like she'll fight like an animal. And she has this saying that I love. Every episode, she either she says it or another character says it. But whoever has the sharpest fangs wins. That's what Killing Bites is all about. And you will not forget it, because you will hear that phrase every single episode. And then her best friend, the second character, is Erza, the cheetah girl. And she has more than a little girl crush on Hitomi, I think. I mean, the first thing she does is she uses her cheetah speed to steal Hitomi's panties. It's a pretty funny scene. And then, like, later on... there's a portion of the video where I'm going to get into how Killing Bites is not porn. I swear it's not hentai, but I've shown some clips to a friend, and I've had to convince that friend that, like, no, this is not, I mean, it's ecchi, but no, it's not porn, I swear. Killing Bites is interesting. Yeah, so for example, here we have this scene. So there's a very interesting episode where, long story short, this girl, she is a civitone, and she has a power called civitone wrap, where she releases this pheromone that basically makes everyone like super, want to do it, super horny. And of course, Erza and Hitomi already had like a low-key, maybe like lesbian tension there, and then they go all out. They go all out. And that's definitely the one episode 7, I think. You don't want to show that to mixed company. That got a little awkward. And what's funny is it's kind of like Squid Game. Like, they're on this island, right? And all the VIPs and shit, they're watching the feed. They're watching like the games, the battle royale tournament. But like when it cuts to, like, the announcer's like, oh, let's cut to see what Hitomi and Erza are doing, and it cuts to like footage like that, and all of the guys start cheering. They're like, yes, thank you God. and the women and VIPs are getting pissed off, but the men are like just cheering, like, yes, more. Going back to Fairy Tale, there's an episode like that, or I forget exactly, but there's like a fighting tournament, and like for whatever reason, like the girls have to like fight in their underwear, their swimsuits, and like I just remember the announcer guy was like, thank you Jesus, thank you God, thank you Jesus. He just kept on saying thank you God, like thank you so much. He was so happy. But yeah, and I'm gonna get into, there's the cringe. I apologize, I'm jumping around. I'm gonna be jumping around quite a bit, but the main villain, let's get to him. So I mean, a lot of shit happens. In fact, let me mention this real quick. So, there are a couple episodes where they're just like kind of gathering the team, and like before the destroyal happens. And basically, the episode where Bunny Girl is introduced, she's my favorite. I mean, I love all three main girls, but Bunny Girl is actually my favorite. And I was like so rooting for her to win the tournament. And guess what? Guess what happens? But Bunny Girl, she can't fight. She's completely useless. Like, Hitomi's team just needs a third person, and they find this Bunny Girl, and she's like, yeah, like, I can't, I've always lost every fight. No one wants to bet on me. No one wants me on their team because I'm a bunny. Like, I can run away. That's it. That's literally my power. I can run away. So, Hitomi like lets her join the team, and in that episode, there are these two chicks. Again, I wish I had room. I didn't have room for. Oh man, like that's another one of my favorite episodes. But there are these two lesbian girls that are like horned lizards, and so their whole power is okay. So in real life, which I didn't know, I learned that's another reason why I love Killing Bites so much. Is like, seriously, even though it's entertaining and stupid and fun, you will learn about the animal kingdom. You will learn animal facts from this anime that you didn't, unless you are like already like a huge animal buff, which I wasn't. You're gonna learn some facts. So for example, had you heard of the civitone? Had you heard of like the pheromones that the civitone gives off, that makes these two girls go wild? Anyway, but yeah, and I'll get back to that because that's one of my favorite fights. Is Bunny Girl actually fights her, but before that, yeah. So before the tournament, so there's these two girls, and they are horn lizards, and I didn't know this was a thing, but this one type of horn lizard, as a defense mechanism, it can burst the capillaries in its eyes and squirt blood from its eyes like several feet outward to make predators think it's like dying or sick or fucked up, and it'll scare predators away. I didn't know that is the most metal thing I've ever heard in my life, but that's a real thing. And so the Killing Bites version is there are these two girls, and they shoot these like bloody eye laser beams out, and I'm like, you know what, fine, that's like a funny animeism, like an anime over the top version of that already ridiculous real life power. So sure. But yeah, these two girls, they're like messing up Hitomi, and they're also after the bunny girl. And the bunny girl, of course, runs away. But bunny girl is like instrumental in that episode because like, and what's his name? Yuya actually has a good conversation with her where he says like, even the weakest fighters, even the weakest animals, they have something to bring to the table. There's something they can do. And bunny girl, well, she uses her speed to get away, and then she uses her ears are almost like a sonar type of thing, so she can determine where the opponents are from like the sound they make. And so she actually does help Hitomi defeat the bloody eye laser lesbian lizard women, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say. So that kind of earns her a spot on the team. She has her first win in the tournament ever. And so she's the ultimate dark horse. She joins the tournament with everyone. But another thing, I don't know, I'm a big bunny girl defender. One thing that Erza actually brings up early on in the series is obviously you can see like these girls that normally they have their normal high school girl form, but then they can turn into their animal monster form. There is an in between. So Erza has when she's out out and about in town, she does still have her cheetah ears. And Hitomi's like, oh, how do you do that? And she's like, oh, like that's like one of the first skills you learn. It's kind of hard to do, but you can like partially transform. What it was interesting, which no one pointed out, is when they first meet Bunny Girl, she already has her bunny ears out. So she's actually already mastered that first step that Erza talks about that Hitomi couldn't even do at that point. So that's one of the first little clues I got to like Bunny Girl's actually more competent than people give her credit for. As you can tell, I'm a Bunny Girl stand. I think she deserved to win the tournament. I'm a Bunny Girl defender. Yeah, that's her running away like a little coward. That's about all she can do. No, she has some cool stuff. So in the tournament, what Bunny Girl does is she, like a bunny, she has the ability to make these little burrows, so she can dig like basically escape tunnels for her friends, and that's how she gets around the island super quick. So she's actually pretty useful, just in that regard. But yeah, Civetone Girl, she spread her pheromone and made the two girls go at it. And Hitomi is just able to fight it using her natural battle instincts or whatever. But when Bunny Girl shows up, and I'll give the anime this credit, what are bunny rabbits known for? It's an ecchi series, and she's a sexy bunny girl. What are bunnies known for besides being really fast? They're known for reproducing a lot, in so many words. The anime never really goes there. They never go for the low hanging fruit in that regard. Except they briefly go into it where when Bunny Girl shows up and Civetone's aphrodisiac is still in the air, like it's like mostly worn off. It's diluted at this point, but unfortunately it's kind of like Bunny's kryptonite, because Bunny's already super horny to begin with, and then she gets a whiff of this aphrodisiac, so she's like dizzy, she falls down, she starts kind of like rolling around, and asks someone to make a baby with her. But that's really all. It's just like the one scene. It really, again, as far as like this anime not being super classy, being kind of fan servicey, they could have gone a lot more lewd with it, and they didn't. They took the high road. Again, there's just like the one quick little scene of Bunny Girl being hit with the aphrodisiac. So like I applaud that, actually. I mean they didn't hold back with this, but yeah, no, they held back with Bunny Girl, and I appreciate it. So anyway, Bunny Girl gets into a fight with Civetone, and let me be clear, Bunny Girl is still suffering the effects of the Civetone rap, so she's still a little bit off her game, but she still actually beats her in a fight. I couldn't believe it. And one funny thing is the opening. Again, I encourage you to watch it. I watch it every single. That's one of those openings you can't skip. I always watch it every episode. That opening has a lot of Easter eggs. So like there's a brief like little glimpse, but you see Hitomi's final form. You also see a brief glimpse of Bunny Girl fighting Civetone. not this shot. It's like a shot that's not in the anime, but like they are basically fighting, and it's true. I was like, yeah, Bunny Girl does fight her, and Civitone's not the most powerful fighter, but like the fact that Bunny Girl previously couldn't fight at all or never had a win under her belt, the fact that she defeated Civitone, I think, is really, a really awesome moment, like a real big feather in her cap. But basically what happens is Bunny starts running away because that's all she can do, and Civitone's chasing her, and Bunny actually tricked her. She purposely ran over this little burrow, this little like hidden tunnel that she had dug, and so Civitone like trips and falls into it and is like about to fall to her doom because the tunnel just keeps on going, and then that's when Bunny jumps, does like a bunny kick and jumps on her and like knocks her down the tunnel, and then she quickly like covers the tunnel up, like covers up with dirt, dig, and that's it. Like she's done. So Bunny wins. And then the other thing that happens, I'm gonna get back to the other stuff, but yeah, a lot of other shit happens. But this one dude, where is he? I didn't have like a lot of room to. Okay, so this guy right here. He's like the final boss. We'll get to him. The like whatever intermediary boss is this Cobra guy, but the final boss is this pangolin, which is an animal I knew nothing about until watching Killing Bites. But it's a really cool animal. It's basically like a if not Sonic the Hedgehog, but if like Metal Sonic was real, like he's like a metal hedgehog. Like he's a hedgehog with like super like strong knife armor. Like it's wild. But he can roll up into a ball like a hedgehog. The pangolin, but anyway, but yeah, he's like the final boss, and everyone is like throwing everything at the wall to stop this guy, and he basically like takes out everybody, and Bunny Girl has been like kind of hiding this whole time, and when she he takes out, like Hitomi defeats him, but like it kind of like knocks her out as well, type of thing. So Bunny Girl like gets up, and everyone has been taken out, and she's about to win, but then Cheetah Girl comes back. She's like resuscitated, and so Cheetah is going to kill Bunny to win the tournament. And this is my other favorite moment in the series. So Cheetah is like, and it's actually a pretty decent fight too, because both animals are known for their speed. Cheetahs are very fast. Bunnies are very fast. The only difference is, cheetahs also have razor sharp claws. Like Cheetah Girl has a way to attack, and Bunny doesn't. So Bunny's pretty mismatched actually, but Bunny's running around. And there's this chasing her, and then what happens is Bunny trips, and she trips in such a way that she like kind of kicks outward, and she just happens to catch Cheetah right on the jaw, right on the glass jaw, and knocks her the fuck out. And because everyone else is either dead or unconscious, now Bunny technically wins the tournament. And I love it. And everyone in the VIP room is freaking the fuck out because no one bet on Bunny, and it's just hilarious. Oh my god. And then the narrator, again, I wish I'd fit a picture of it, but whenever it's like time to like spout animal facts, the narrator goes to like this National Geographic segment where there's like these, it's not the normal art style, it's like these like beautiful like paintings or whatever of these like the animals or whatever, but like it's so fucking funny because when like they start out pretty believable. I think as the series goes on, he like starts to make stuff up or like go a little off course because I know I'm approaching 30. I'm gonna go a little over because I mean this is my favorite show, so I'm gonna keep talking. Sorry, but so Bunny Girl, she when she kicks Cheetah, it goes to this portrait, and the narrator's like, well, bunnies have incredible leg strength, and it's possible that every once in a while a bunny has like kicked a predator really hard in the mouth and knocked it out. And then it shows like this painting of like Bunny kicking like a lion in the face and knocking it out. I'm like, there's no way, sir, you're making stuff up now. He does the same shit with the pangolin, because he's talking about how like, oh yeah, pangolins, they have like keratin armor that's almost like knives for skin, and then he says like they're basically indestructible, like people have tried to kill them with hammers or even guns, and they're resistant to everything in the natural world. They're basically impregnable. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Like maybe we're exaggerating a little bit, sir. Maybe we're exaggerating a tiny bit, sir. But yeah, like I don't know, and this is a short series. It's only 12 episodes, like I said, but everyone kind of has a little bit of screen time, like a little bit of depth. Like even Gorilla Boy, like we spent a little bit of time learning about how he was bullied, and like when he finally awakened to his animal powers, he got revenge on the bullies and beat them to death, like all that stuff. So everyone has like a tiny bit of backstory, which I appreciated. But like even Pangolin guy, he's kind of like He's kind of like, do you remember Black War Greymon in Digimon, where he like freaked out about like there was like the Mammothmon stampede and they were gonna like crush the flower, and he like covered it with his body. He's like, you won't crush this flower, I'll do anything. You know, that's literally this guy. This guy is like a freak. This guy, if you like, and imagine, you know, you can imagine the Killing Bites tournament. They don't care. Like they're knocking over trees and shrubs and shit. Like they're just like destroying everything. There's all this collateral damage, and he just like freaks the fuck out. Like he's like he won't suffer you to step on a blade of grass. You know what I mean? He'll like freak the fuck out and kill you for knocking over, you know, a single flower, you know. And they actually, at first it's like comical. He's like an insane like evil Captain Planet type of thing, but they actually do a decent job with his backstory, which I didn't even expect him to have a backstory. But without, you know, again, watch the show, but without going too much into it, he this by the way is his like final form, just like Hitomi. He has like he's just like wiping the floor with everybody, and Hitomi kind of like, she got knocked out, but then that's what she normally looks like, but then she has like a second form, of course, because she's the main character, and it's an action series. So like basically think of like Super Saiyan, because she's like an original brute, so she can go into like her super brute form. But then she pisses him off because she keeps on knocking over flowers and stuff. So then he goes into his super pangolin form, so he's like extra spiky and extra durable or whatever. But yeah, basically his backstory is that he's estranged from his mother, and his mother kind of like told him to like protect this batch of flowers, and to think of the flowers as her, and like the abusive drunk father knocked over the flowers and stepped on them, and then made him go crazy and beat his father to death with a baseball bat. So that's why he's so protective of flowers in a nutshell. But the way Hitomi beats him, well, it's a team effort. Erza's brother, the tiger guy, he manages to take out one of this guy's eyes and like do a little bit of damage, and Hitomi's able to like cut him up a little bit. But what really does it is she basically jumps into the air, and he has like a brief vision, because she's female, I guess he has like a vision where he thinks it's his mom, so he's like, mama, and then his mouth is open, and she shoves her claw down his mouth, down his throat, and her fist goes out the back of his skull, and that's where it gets really graphic. It shows like his brain matter coming out the back, so he should be dead. He should be dead. And that like took all of Hitomi's strength. Like she has already had like her arm ripped off at this point. Like she's basically fainting from blood loss anyway. But he gets back up. He's like still not done type of. He does like a full Michael Myers like stands back up thing. And luckily Cheetah Girl is still conscious, and she like finishes him off, because you know everyone else in the series, they always do like, you know, like Badger style, you know, it's the shonen thing, like Badger style super slash or whatever, Pangolin style, you know, iron defense. So without announcing her attack, she breaks the shonen convention. She breaks the rules. She doesn't announce her attack. She just runs up to him and slashes his throat real quick and kills him. And it's great. And she's just like, yeah, no, cheetahs, we don't mess around. Like, we just attack lightning fast, and you're dead. Like, that's it. As soon as you drop your guard, we're going for the jugular. And I'm like, you know what? One-handed clap, golf clap. Cheetah Girl is the MVP. Cheetah Girl wins. Cheetah Girl's the MVP. Maybe she deserved to win the tournament, but I like how funny it is that Bunny Girl defeated her and won the tournament. But Cheetah Girl might be the GOAT. She might be, yeah. Okay, here we go. That's her brother. That's Tiger. Hitomi actually has a lot of trouble fighting Tiger as well. And it's one of those. Their fight gets interrupted by Pangolin. Pangolin takes out Tiger. But if Pangolin hadn't showed up, Tiger was probably going to beat Hitomi anyway. So yeah, my order, all of these girls are amazing. I love them all. Bunny Girl's number one. No offense to everyone else. You know, she even won the Destroyal, so I'm back in the winner. But Bunny Girl's my number one. Cheetah Girl, especially for that vicious takedown, she's number two. She's a close number two. And then Hitomi, don't get me wrong, she's a babe too, but she's number three. Sorry, Hitomi. But yeah, there's like stuff I didn't. Oh yeah, and let me just mention. So again, I'm very curious to read the manga. I probably will at some point. I'll just like whatever, get the French version or whatever, because I want to see what happens next. But we just got started. Like, we just had, I know we had the tournament, but we just like awakened Hitomi's new power, her new form, and I want to see more of that. Basically, she gets like tan skin, and her boobs get a little bit bigger, and she gets even more muscular and feral, and It's great. I love it. But so I'm wondering, like, oh, can like anyone do that? Well, and actually, Pangolin had a second form too. So can anyone do that? I hope Cheetah Girl can do that. And in fact, I think she can, because I was looking at some of the manga volume covers, and this is number 18. I believe that's Cheetah Girl. So she does have a second form. It looks like, unless this is a different Cheetah Girl, but I don't think it is. So she has a second form. But yeah, some other quick things. So this studio, Liden Films, they're not super famous. So again, I like a lot of the. I have to be fair. So not every visual is good. There's some cringe character designs, and watching it on my TV, like the big, I watched it on a small screen, through various means back in the day. But watching it on big TV, I noticed some things. I noticed some unnecessary CGI. A lot of the time, background characters, for some reason, are going to be CGI models, which clashes horribly with the 2D animated main characters. So I don't know why they ever do that. There's a Cobra guy that she fights at one point, and that actually was a good CGI effect, but his tail is always CGI when it's like slithering around. That was actually a good effect, so I'll give them points for that. But Pangolin is like fully CGI, and he looks really awkward and weird. Especially, I don't know. I just hate CGI in anime like 90% of the time. It always looks bad. And I think most people are on the same page with me. But it especially looks bad when the 2D characters are fighting a CGI character. It just doesn't look right. And I have to mention, Liden Films was involved in the infamous 2016 Berserk adaptation, which was known for bad CGI. So there's a little bit of that bad Berserk, they did like Berserk in 2017, Killing Bites 2018, so like there's still a little bit of that Berserk CGI rubbing off on Killing Bites, I think. And then I have to return to the awkward Killing Bites isn't porn. So this image, listen, this is just Erza getting some tail, and I don't mean that as a euphemism. No, they're having some fun with it. But yeah, Cobra guy. So he's the second main villain before Pangolin. Cobra. He's another monster that takes multiple episodes to fight. But he's the worst. He's just a vile person. And I think I can kind of justify the etchiness and the perverted nature of this show, because they are all animals at the end of the day, and they're all subject to their pheromones, their hormones, etc., especially Bunny Girl. But Cobra guy, oh man, this guy, he just won't stop talking about getting tail. Like, and I do mean that now as a euphemism. But every woman he meets, like, he's just like is all about getting some of that. And he even has a female teammate, the Gecko Girl, and they do bring that up because like she's a woman. But he like looks at her and she's like, you can try it, but I'm gonna murder you. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I know how bad you are. I'm gonna leave you alone. But like every other female, so he's obsessed with Erza. So he lures her away. And it's funny, like this tournament, it seems like there's no holds barred. Like you can like do whatever, you can kill people, like whatever. But there are like camera crews and people filming for like the VIPs to watch, obviously. But like, I don't know, it's weird where like there's like a whole thing where they have to lure Erza away to like this special part of the island that doesn't have cameras, because they're gonna do illegal moves or I mean, are there any rules really? I don't get it. Like, what do you mean? But yeah, they all, it's like Cobra guy and his team, they team up on Erza and beat the shit out of her, and they have to do that off camera because I guess that's, I don't know, against the rules or whatever. But yeah, he's all about hooking up with her. RAPE, and so again, that's an episode I wouldn't watch with Mexican Company. But they have some fun with it. Again, she's screaming for help, and he stuffs his tongue in his tail in her mouth to silence her. But they have some fun, and I don't have a picture, but the shot is like her face and then his tail like going into her mouth in a very suggestive manner. Again, you know what they're going for here. It's very suggestive. But yeah, again, she is just fighting a Cobra man. He has her tied up in his tail, and he's gonna, have his way with her. And this is where I learned the unfortunate. Oh my lord! Oh my god! I hope you're ready for my Cobra cannon. So that's where I learned. Can they show that? And I guess because it's an animal body part, they can show it. Or I don't know. This wasn't censored in Killing Bites. But this is where I unfortunately learned the unfortunate fact that Cobra snakes have two ding-dongs, two schlongs. I learned that from Killing Bites. Thank you, Killing Bites. So he's going to attack her with both of his cannons. And that's interesting. And then Hitomi shows up and uses her Badger Slash, and she does a little snip to Cobra Man. he won't be doing that to anyone anymore ever again. So that's good. And it's wild that, like, yeah, as much violence as there is, it's like one of those like One Piece situations where people get really messed up, but like no one really dies. Like even Cobra Man, like Hitomi gives him the snip, and then later he gets fucking was it Pangolin shows up and just like bisects him, like cuts him in half, and then he's like crawling around on the ground like he's just a torso at this point. And Hitomi's like, yeah, like we'll get him to a hospital, and he's a reptile, so he'll heal. I'm like, will he? I mean, I know reptiles can heal his spine got cut. You know, he's cut in half. Like he can still move and shit. He's still alive or whatever. Like it's an anime, whatever. But yeah. I've talked so much. I haven't talked about, again, the main character is Hitomi's human sponsor who semi has a romance with her. This absolute worthless, you know, generic, forgettable man, Yuya Nomoto. He's obviously like one of those like stand proxies for the audience, like a generic male character. That's what a lot of harem shows have. So his big claim to fame. So the way the tournament works, right? They all have sponsors, and so it is like there's like a game board, and you show like the island as like a game board. And when it's your turn, you roll the die, and you can move your character that many spaces. And then it's interesting because and I forgot to mention. Do I have a picture of it? It's hard to see. You can see, yeah, they have these devices around their necks. It is just like Battle Royale, or if you saw my Skill House, actually, yeah, if you saw my Skill House review, it's the exact collars that they wear in that terrible horror movie Skill House. But yeah, they have to follow their orders. So if I order Hitomi to move 3 spaces to the right and she doesn't within 5 minutes, her collar explodes and kills her. So that's another huge part of the strategy of the game. Where there's even an episode where they plan this, where they wait for Tiger to get an order to like move 5 paces south or whatever, and that's when Crocodile Man clamps down on him. He's like, I'm just gonna hold you in place until your timer goes up, and then I don't need to kill you. The collar will kill you. So like that's actually an interesting bit of the game, you know, compared to like just a generic Battle Royale anime that, trust me, I've seen plenty of. But I do like the game board, you know, side of it. But anyway, yeah. So when it's Nomoto's turn to roll the die, and he can send her, you know, basically, his one thing that he does, and it's ironic because he doesn't actually do anything, but his one claim to fame, we go into his backstory, how like he's been like, you know, drifting through life, and he never makes his own decisions. He just does what other people tell him to do, blah blah blah. But that all changes now. This is his moment to shine. So Hitomi is fighting Tiger, and she's getting her ass whooped, and it's his turn, and he can roll, and he can tell her to move like 6 paces away, basically to retreat type of thing, or he can tell her to stay. And he chooses to tell her to stay, even though she's losing. And that gives her the confidence, oh, he believes in me, so I'm going to keep fighting until the last, you know, bitter end. And so that's it. That's his big claim to fame. But he did something. He didn't do anything. He didn't roll, and he chose. That was his decision. He chose not to roll. And so that was, you know. But what I really love is there's like this anticlimactic ending where so the tournament's over, and Hitomi disappears, and he goes back to his normal life. And then she contacts him and tells him to meet him back at like the trash complex that he first met her at when, you know, she started the tournament, when she fought the Lion Man. Oh, I have to say real quick. So this is another thing that made no sense at all. It's one of those things where like power scaling doesn't make sense, but like so Tiger is really, really powerful, right? Like he's wiping the floor with Hitomi, and Tiger's only rival was Lion. Like he says again and again, Lion is the only one on my power level. Like there's no freaking way that you defeated him in episode 1. And that's a good question. When you see how powerful Lion is, you're like, wait, yeah, how did she beat it? So the only explanation they give us is that, yeah, Lion saw potential in Hitomi, and he kind of like intentionally lost, because there's no way he's just as strong as Tiger. He never would have like lost normally. And I'm like, that's dumb. Okay, I hate like power scaling and stuff like that, where it's like main character always beats people that are, you know, you learn are much powerful later, and it's like, all right, whatever. But anyway, so they go back to the spot they first met, and Hitomi gives him like the speech about blah blah blah, and they kind of like flirt a little bit, and it's kind of cute, and they're both like glad that they met each other. And then he thanks her for like, you know, teaching him to grow up and everything. and then she cuts him off in the middle of the sentence. It's like this romantic scene with romantic music, and then she cuts him off. She like literally cuts him off. She like slashes him and kills him right on this, and then it's like, wait, what? So apparently she got these like secret orders to tie up all these loose ends with the tournament, and like I guess her master decided that Nomoto was like a loose end. I don't know why. Like what's he gonna do? Who's he gonna tell? He's just some random college student. Like what is his threat to anything really? He was just going back to his normal life. But Hitomi's sponsored or master tells her he has to be killed. He has to be tied up. He's a loose end, and so she does. And then she's like crying as they drive away, and she's clearly sad about it. Flash forward. There's like a new tournament, and there's like this dog girl that shows up, and I think she becomes kind of a main character in the manga. But we tease the next tournament, but we see this like hooded figure that's like kind of going to be the dog girl sponsor, and it's Nomoto. He survived somehow. Is he a Therianthrope? Like I don't know how he survived. Whatever. But yeah, we'll never know because season 2 is never happening. So the other thing I forgot to mention is at the end of I love this too. At the end of every episode, they fit in these like little tiny Killing Bites shorts. These little like they're probably like a minute long, and they're done in this like cutesy chalk art style. But it's called "Lead the Way, Oshii-chan," and there's like this cute honeybird girl, and she has like these little vignettes, and she's clearly in love with Hitomi, and it's about her like goofy adventures, like getting ice cream or getting pancakes with Hitomi because they both like sweet things. And then weirdly, the narrator. They even do like the National Geographic facts where they'll say something about the honey guide or whatever, the bird that she's supposed to be. But then the narrator always says, but just to be clear, Oshii-chan is not a Therianthrope. She's not a brute. I'm like, but then why do you keep comparing her to a honeybird, a honey guide? I don't get it. Maybe Oshii-chan, she never become. I was waiting for her to like cross over and become an actual character in the main anime, and she never does. She's only in the shorts, but maybe she becomes a main character in the manga. Who knows? But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. That's Killing Bites. Highly recommend it. It was streaming at one point on Crunchyroll and it was taken off. It was streaming at one point on on Amazon Prime for a while. That's how I think I watched it back in the day. And then it was taken off, and then it was streaming on HiDive Uncensored. I remember seeing an ad for that. Watch Killing Bites Uncensored on HiDive. It is no longer on HiDive. I think at this point you just have to buy the Blu-ray. I would recommend that anyway, just so you physically own this. Even if you find it on a streaming site, it's going to be taken off in like a couple weeks, just like it has been. So like I recommend just getting the Blu-ray and owning it forever. But yeah, that's it. Watch Killing Bites and tell me if you can find an anime that you think is better or an anime that actually reminds you of Killing Bites in any way. See ya.